Oilers host the Washington Capitals to open up a 5-game homestand. As I'm pleased to welcome you to the Oilers TV live pregame show. I'm your host, Tony Barr. Thanks so much for making us a part of your Wednesday morning. The Oilers, of course, are looking to get back in the win column after having dropped each of their last 3 games during a stretch that has seen them go 2-5-1 following Monday's loss down Highway 2. And speaking of Calgary, that's where the Capitals were last night, coming out on top 5-4 with Alex Ovechkin notching career goal number 765 and 766 to tie him third on the all-time NHL goal-scoring list with Jaromir Jagr. And speaking of captains, we're going to be hearing from Oilers captain Connor McDavid just over my right shoulder in just a few moments. He'll be followed up by defenseman Duncan Keith and head coach Jay Woodcroft as we tee up tonight's action. Stay tuned.
much good can a full day of practice where you have the whole group out there? Clearly, you want to get some work done on the power play. Practice time is sort of few and far between now. So how do you think that did for you guys and the work you did on the power play?
Yeah, obviously it's important. Our power play is something that has been very good for us for the last couple of years, and obviously it's been letting us down a little bit the last little while. So got to find a way to get that going.
Don't expect you to give away any state secrets or anything, but if there's a quality you think you'd like to see injected into the power play, a frame of mind, can you summarize it for us?
Yeah, maybe just being a little more aggressive, attacking the net a little bit more. I think we've gotten a little bit away from that.
I know you guys faced him in Washington, but just can you give me a thought on having the Capitals here and Ovechkin here, and just he's chasing a milestone tonight. I guess can you just give me a thought on going up against him tonight?
Yeah, obviously it's exciting going up against one of the game's all-time greats. He's obviously been a force in this league for a long time, and he's chasing down some pretty special players ahead of him. So it's fun to kind of watch from afar, and yeah.
Connor, do you still look at him at his age and figure when's he going to drop off? A lot of guys, they get to a certain age and the 50-goal season suddenly become 30, but it doesn't seem to be with Ovechkin.
Yeah, he finds a way to produce each and every year. Age doesn't seem to bother him much, and he's still moving great and shooting the puck like he always has, and he's still such a force out there. So it doesn't seem to he doesn't seem to be slowing down.
Hey Connor, the playoff chase is on. 25 games left. You guys are just out. Do you look at it? Do you sort of like embrace that this is a tense time of year, and these games might even sort of have a playoff feel as you're going down the stretch here?
Yeah, they certainly will. Obviously the playoffs have started for us. They started even a little while ago. So, we're in the thick of it, trying to chase down a spot, and, these points matter each and every night.
And there's obviously guys hurt, guys up from the minors, guys in different roles. What do you see from those guys maybe thrust into situations where, they got to play tough minutes or maybe be in a little bit of an unfamiliar spot? What can you say about the contributions of some of those guys?
Yeah, we've definitely been battling the injury bug all year, and we've had guys in and out of the lineup, up and down from the minors, and kind of all over the place. So, I think they've stepped up and done well, and they have to continue to do a job for us.
As a guy who wants to make deep playoff runs, kind of how much of the onus do you put on yourself of trying to get this team in? Obviously, it's a team sport, but how much of that do you put on yourself down the stretch of trying to get this team into the playoffs?
Yeah, obviously I want to play well and contribute to the team as much as I can, and I know when I'm at my best, I contribute a lot. So that's obviously my focus.
What does you being at your best down the stretch look like? What has to happen for you, for Leon, for this team to make it in?
What was that question, sorry?
Just what does you being at your best look like? What do you and Leon and the team have to do to close the gap and make the playoffs?
Again, hearing like 4 questions there. But me at my best would be, skating, having the puck, playing aggressive. That's kind of when I'm at my best. What do we need for our team to get in the playoffs? We need contributions from everybody, including Leo and I, including, everybody. That's what we need. Thanks.
How you doing? Over here. How's it going?
Good.
Just a thought on facing Alexander Ovechkin and just what he's doing, and you kind of marvel at the fact that he's still as potent offensively as he's ever been.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you get to play against him, it's a game where you see where he's at, and you know when he's on the ice. So he doesn't need much space, much time to score goals. Obviously, we've seen lots of that over the years, but it's always a special game playing against the best players.
Is there any way in your years that you can try and slow him down, try and defend him? Like what kind of other strategies going up against a guy like that?
Well, I think you don't ever want to take penalties, but it's hockey, so that happens. Like any good player, you try to take their time and space away, know where they are on the ice, when they're on the ice, things like that. It's no different really than any other great player, but with Alex, his shot is so deadly that even you could be close, be on him, and he still gets it off. It's that powerful, and he's proven that time and time again.
Have you ever been able to pinpoint what you guys are doing well when Jay first took over the team, and then kind of what you got away from that a little bit, or is it just a matter of just trying to find your game? But is there a kind of a difference, do you see, between the team that he took over, when he took over, and the team that's kind of sliding a little bit now?
Not really. I think that, we've played a lot of games here. It was a long road trip, going on the road. How many different cities have we been in a short amount of time? That is what it is. I'm sure it's like that for every team, but that's the way it is. And I think that we played a good hard game last game in Calgary against a really good team that's won a lot of their games recently. So it was close. It was right there. It was 2-1. So that's kind of what we go off of, head into this game against another tough challenge for us with when we're missing guys and other guys stepping up. So I think it's been good.
Duncan, sorry, right back here. In Chicago, you were with Kane and Taves, and they had lots of pressure to produce and had that on their shoulders a lot of nights. Here, it's obviously McDavid and Draisaitl. What do you see from these two when, maybe they've gone through a little bit of a stretch where they're fighting or the results aren't there for the team? What do you see from those two in terms of the efforts they make to try and find their game? Leon was really honest the other night after the game, basically said, this is our responsibility. We have to figure this out, meaning him and McDavid. Just evaluate the pressure that's on them and how you think they handle it.
Oh yeah, I think they feel a lot of responsibility, but at the end of the day, it's on everybody. It's not just two guys. It's not just them. It's on all of us to pull our weight and find a way to get some wins. It was a close game last game, and we were right there. I think maybe if we could have got one on the power play, but. Penalty killers are good too. You're not going to score. I don't think it's ever a good recipe to be reliant on the power play to win games. I think the focus is 5-on-5 play, and I thought last game we were right there with Calgary, a good team, and with a lot of guys missing and a tough schedule. So that's where we're at right now, and I think Connor and Leon absorb and take a lot of responsibility because they feel the pressure. They want to win here. They've been here for a while now. They care about the city and the fans and the organization. So I think that's natural and that's good. That's why we're lucky to have two players that are so good like that care. But at the end of the day, it's on all of us. It's not just two guys.
So the results recently haven't been what you want them to be. But I get the sense that as a team, you feel you're putting a higher quality game on the ice more often right now than maybe you were in December and before. Do you believe that as a group? And do you see that the quality of the game you're throwing out there is different now?
I think so. I mean, there's certainly things that we've got to improve on and we need to improve on. We've been working on them. But as far as the team game overall, I think we've been much better over the last 10 games or so, as opposed to even the first 10 games. When we won all 10 games the first first start of the season. So, you know, the situation we're in right now is at the end of the day, we need to try to get wins and get points, and it's a tight race. And I think that if we just continue to have that team first mentality where we play a good team game, we're going to get points most nights.
Duncan, you play with Broberg, you play with young defensemen in Chicago before you came here too. What do you see from Broberg as a young defenseman?
Yeah, I like him. He's a big, strong guy. And I think that his size alone allows him to play a certain game. And, you know, I think just it's only been a few games, but we've developed a little bit of chemistry, and that's got to continue to progress there. But I like, you know, he's got a lot of confidence joining the play, and you know, he's got offensive ability as well. He snuck right in there against Calgary, right in the slot. Really nice play on the blue line to sneak in and create an opportunity for us. I think that was in the third period. Might have been the first, but you know, there's lots there. He's a big, strong guy, and you know, he's just starting out. So it's a good sign for the team and the organization.
Duncan, following up on Ryan's question, when you're in a situation like this, what did guys like Jonathan Toews and Patrick Kane do to lead a team? And kind of, do you see similar characteristics in Connor and Leon to be able to kind of lead a team in a situation like this?
I think I already talked about that already. I don't know what you want me to say more on that.
No, is there something specifically that they need to do, that they need to say in the room, or is it just as a team you follow guys like that?
I think at the end of the day, it's about us playing our, you know, individually, you try to play your best hockey, and that's ultimately the best way to lead, I think, is to try to play your best. And those guys, and, you know, Kane, Toews, and Draisaitl, McDavid, you know, those guys are where they're at because they're competitive and they want to be the best, and they're right there in that group of players that always gets talked about as being the best. So, you know, we just need them, like everybody else, to play hard and within the structure of the team game, and they've been doing that, and we're gonna, you know, continue to chip away and get better and break through here. Thank you.
quality that you will be hoping is injected into your power play for tonight's game? Can you kind of headline it and tell us what you think that the quality needs to be?
A level of grittiness to our power play, a willingness to get pucks to the net and fight it out in the hard areas for those second and third opportunities.
Do you think that's reflective of the way your team's playing the game in other areas as well? Or do you think that this is unique to the power play and your other parts of your game have enough of that? Or is that more across the board?
Well, I think if you look at the way our team's played over the last 6 games, I think we've given up 7 even strength goals against over that time. That's indicative of a willingness to play the game hard and do a lot of really good things 5-on-5. We don't feel that we've scored enough 5-on-5 over that period of time. So there are things that we want to inject into our offensive game, a little bit more hardness, a little bit more substance offensively. And I think when you talk about our special teams, that applies to both things as well. So power play, obviously, a little bit more substance and a little bit harder in the hard areas. And then on the penalty kill, we can do some things to clean up some of the goals against there.
You've seen Connor at various stages of his career, obviously coaching at that end of the bench for a number of years. What are you seeing right now in his game? Where do you think he's at?
Well, I think this is what I know about Connor, is that he's a true pro. He's driven to win. He has put a lot of emphasis in some of the areas that our staff, when we've come together over the last 3 weeks, has put a lot of emphasis on, which is his work back to our own end. For me, we're asking some of our higher minute players to do a lot of things and assume a little bit more responsibility, especially when we lost some of our top 6 minute munchers. So we're asking a lot. And for me, like I said, I have nothing but admiration and respect for Connor and his game. He's somebody, like I said, who's really, really driven to win.
Hey, Jay, you going back with Mikko tonight in goal, and how is Mike Smith feeling?
Yeah, Mike had a skate this morning and an optional skate. Koskinen will be our starter tonight.
And Neiman Laine, did he go back to Bakersfield for personal reasons? Or?
Well, he's having a child, so him and his wife are expecting a child here fairly soon.
Okay. And I just want to get a thought on Alex Ovechkin from you. You know, obviously he's doing the things he's doing at 36 years old. And when you game plan against a guy like that, is there anything you can do to kind of try and limit his effectiveness, I guess?
Well, what a fantastic ambassador for the sport of hockey. He's been great for the National Hockey League, and you don't score as many goals as he has over his career without his talent. But what I think stands out about him is his passion to play the game, even as he's working his way through this stage of his career. It's quite evident that he's someone else who is also very driven. So in terms of game planning for him, you have to understand when he's on the ice, you have to make sure that you're trying to take away his time and space, but he's a big man that gets his shot off, and he's playing the game the right way. So it's going to be a challenge for us tonight, but one that we're up for.
Hey, Jay. Oh, okay.
Oh, hey, Reed.
I know you've said a lot about keeping the picture small, but another viewpoint might be that there's 50 points available for you guys to get, and there's probably a number in there that if you can get to it, you can probably feel pretty good about getting a playoff spot. How much do you consider that here?
Well, when we talk about that, the keeping the picture small and staying present and focusing on what's immediately before you, I think what we're trying to do is realize that there's 2 points up for grabs today. That's what our concentration and focus is on. That doesn't mean that we're not aware of what's happening around the league or how many points are available through the rest of the regular season. We are. But what's immediately before us, what's in our control, is our effort and our execution level tonight. This game is worth 2 points, and that's what we're setting out to get tonight.
Paul Coffey's around the team. Are you using Paul Coffey in any way in a coaching capacity in terms of your power play?
Well, I think anytime you have some of the alumni that we have and people that we can draw on, I think it's anytime you can get someone's opinion to talk things out. And Paul's been a very good resource, not only for the coaching staff or the people around the team, but also the players.
And Broberg playing with Duncan Keith. What do you think he's going to learn from Duncan, and how do you think he's doing, Broberg?
Well, I think his last 2 games have been excellent. I think that's reflected in his minutes. I think Duncan is professional's professional, someone you can learn a lot from, not just in listening to him, but in watching him how he prepares, how he conducts himself, how he recovers, the minutia of his day. Those are all great lessons for a 20-year-old D-man in Philip Broberg. Now, that said, I think over the last few games, that's been a good pair for us. And Broberg brings something to the table for that pair. And like I said, he's played very well these last few games, and that's reflective in his minutes played.
So when he's playing a lot and well, and he's only other games where he's only playing 10, 11 minutes, what is he doing well right now than some of the other games he playing less?
I think his best asset's his legs. He can skate himself out of trouble. I think he's an experiential learner. So the more experience that he's had at this level, the more he's prepared to play that next game because he knows what's coming at him. I think last game we also had 6 D-men, and that was a factor in his minutes as well.
Jay, sorry, you just mentioned 6 D-men. When you go 12-6 or 11-7, is there any way to list off maybe a couple of advantages, if there are, when it's 12-6 over 11-7?
Well, when it's 12-6, you get in a rhythm of a 4-line game. Your partner pretty much stays the same on the back end, so there's a little bit more familiarity. It's traditional. I think when we go 11-7, sometimes it's because we feel that gives us the best chance to win that night, and there are advantages of doing that as well. We've talked about it over the last few weeks. Sometimes it's protecting some people on the back end with spreading the minutes out amongst a large group of people and being able to put different people in different situations on the back end. But the side benefits of 11-7 is you might find one extra shift per period for some of your top forwards. It's tough to match up against, and you can get into a real rhythm up front when you're playing that way.
Sorry, one last one, if I could. A lot of times when the Oilers are on the road, coaches will get asked if there's extra time spent prepping for McDavid and Draisaitl. And I wonder, in the case of Ovechkin, everyone sort of knows what he does and where he does it from, but I wonder if there is any extra time spent on somebody like him, or if you approach it somewhat even with other players.
Yeah, I think anytime you're going into games in the National Hockey League, most teams have key players that you focus in on and what they bring to the table or what their strengths might be. Obviously, with Alex Ovechkin having been around the league for so long, you have an understanding of where he's had his success, for example, on the power play. But what I don't think he gets enough credit for is his complete game, his 200-foot game, his level of physicality that he brings. So our players will be made aware of that as we head in and we game plan tonight. Thanks, guys.